The radio went dead over the ocean. At first, Lieutenant Ryan Hale didn't register it as danger. Silence in the cockpit was never absolute. There was always the low hum of the engines, the faint vibration through the frame, the whisper of air sliding past the canopy. But this silence was different. It had weight. It pressed inward, like the ocean itself had climbed into the sky and wrapped its hands around his aircraft. Ryan's call sign, Shark, was painted just beneath the cockpit, black letters against gray steel. He had earned it the hard way, fast reflexes, sharper instincts, and an appetite for flying missions others hesitated to take. Tonight was supposed to be routine. Long-range patrol, clear weather, calm seas, nothing but hours of blue beneath him. Yet something was wrong. He glanced at the radio panel. The carrier's constant chatter, status updates, altitude confirmations, the familiar voices of controllers he'd flown with for years had vanished mid-sentence. One moment there had been a pilot joking about bad coffee back on deck. The next, nothing. Carrier control, this is Shark. Radio check. No reply. Static flickered briefly, like a dying heartbeat, then flatlined. Ryan switched frequencies. Backup channel. Auxiliary radio. Emergency band. His fingers moved fast, muscle memory taking over while his pulse crept higher. Carrier, this is Navy pilot Shark. Do you copy? Silence answered him. Below, the Pacific Ocean stretched endlessly in all directions, dark and smooth, reflecting the sky like a massive, indifferent mirror. No ships. No lights. Just water so vast it felt unreal, like he was flying over the edge of the world. He checked his instruments again. Altitude steady. Fuel normal. Engine readings green across the board. The aircraft was perfect. The situation was not. Shark had trained for combat, for missile locks and evasive maneuvers, for the chaos of war zones and hostile airspace. But this quiet isolation was something else entirely. No enemy to see. No warning alarms. Just the sudden realization that if he went down out here, no one would hear him scream. "All right," he muttered to himself. "Stay sharp." He adjusted his course slightly, keeping aligned with the planned patrol route. According to navigation, the carrier was hundreds of miles behind him. Turning back without contact wasn't protocol. But losing comms over open ocean was never something to ignore. The sky darkened almost imperceptibly. Not storm dark. Not cloud heavy. Just muted. As if someone had turned down the saturation of the world. Ryan frowned. He checked the horizon. That's when he felt it. Not turbulence. Not wind shear. A sensation like being watched. The thought was absurd. He was 30,000 feet above the ocean, alone in a machine built to dominate the sky. And yet, the feeling crawled up his spine, cold and deliberate. "Get a grip," he whispered. He reached for the mic again. "Any station, this is Navy Aircraft Shark requesting radio check." Nothing. No static this time. No interference. Just a void where sound should be. Minutes passed. Or maybe seconds. Time felt strange when there was nothing to mark it. The ocean below no longer seemed flat. It seemed deep, impossibly deep, as if it were pulling at him, calling him downward. Ryan's fuel gauge flickered. He stiffened. No, don't you start. The flicker stopped. Everything returned to normal, except the radio. His breathing slowed, controlled, trained. Panic killed pilots faster than enemy fire. Still, his thoughts drifted to the stories, unofficial ones, shared late at night in ready rooms when the lights were low and the sea was restless. Aircraft that vanished. Patrols that never returned. Radios that failed at the exact same coordinates. The dead zone, some called it. Command dismissed it as coincidence. Equipment failure. Human error. But pilots knew better. Ryan glanced at his GPS coordinates. His stomach tightened. He was right on the edge of it. "Okay," he said quietly. Turn back. He rolled the aircraft gently, adjusting his heading toward home. The plane responded smoothly, obediently. Then the compass spun. Not fast, slowly, deliberately, as if something unseen were turning it by hand. What the hell? Warning lights flickered across the panel. Brief flashes, gone before alarms could sound. The horizon outside shifted, not violently, but subtly, enough to make his inner ear rebel. Shark clenched his jaw. This isn't happening. The radio crackled. Just once. Ryan froze. A breath of static slipped through the speakers, thin and fragile, like someone exhaling on the other end. He didn't speak. He didn't move. Every instinct screamed that whatever came next mattered. The crackle returned. Stronger this time. Then a voice broke through. "Shark, do you hear me?" It was a woman's voice. Clear, calm, human. Ryan's heart slammed against his ribs. Every hair on his arm stood on end. He grabbed the mic, voice steady despite the storm inside him. "Unknown station. Identify yourself." There was a pause. Static whispered between them, alive with tension. The ocean below reflected nothing now, just darkness. And somewhere beyond the limits of radar and reason, the voice waited to speak again. The silence before her reply felt longer than the flight itself. And Ryan Hale knew, with bone-deep certainty, that whatever had just answered him was not part of any routine mission. "Shark, do you hear me?" The voice didn't sound like a transmission. It sounded close. Lieutenant Ryan Hale felt his pulse spike, not from fear alone, but from disbelief. The clarity of the woman's voice cut cleanly through the dead air, untouched by distortion, as if the ocean itself had carried her words straight into his cockpit. He didn't answer right away. Training kicked in, identify, assess, control. Unknown voices over open water were never good news. His thumb hovered over the transmit switch as his eyes scanned the instruments again. Everything read nominal. That somehow made it worse. "Unknown station," he said finally, measured and firm. "This is Navy pilot call sign Shark. Identify yourself immediately." Silence. Then a faint crackle, like ice shifting beneath deep water. "You're not supposed to be here yet," the woman said. Ryan's jaw tightened. "Explain yet." Another pause. He could almost feel her choosing her words. "You crossed the boundary 3 minutes ago. Your radio didn't fail. It was taken." A chill ran through him. "Taken by who?" The answer came without hesitation. "By the same thing watching you right now." Ryan snapped his head toward the canopy, instinctively scanning the sky. Nothing. Just the dimming blue above and the endless dark sea below. "Carrier control," he said into the mic, ignoring her. "This is Shark. If you hear this transmission, respond immediately." Nothing but static. The woman sighed. An unmistakably human sound. "They can't hear you. Not here. Not now." Ryan's grip tightened on the controls. "You seem awfully confident for someone broadcasting on a restricted military frequency." "You're flying 2 degrees east of safe heading, Shark." "Correct now." His eyes flicked to the navigation display. 2 degrees east. Exactly. His blood went cold. No civilian radar could see that. No lost signal should know his precise drift, especially not after the compass anomaly. "How do you know that?" he demanded. "Because I've flown this mistake before." He adjusted his heading slowly, deliberately, watching the instrument stabilize. The fuel gauge twitched again. "Stop that," he muttered. "It will if you listen to me." Ryan exhaled through his nose, trying to anchor himself in procedure. "Who are you?" Another pause, longer this time. When she spoke again, her voice had changed. It carried weight, regret. "My call sign was Siren." The name hit him like turbulence. Siren. Every Navy pilot had heard it at least once, usually whispered, never written. A reconnaissance pilot lost over open ocean 2 decades ago. Perfect weather. No distress call. Radio silence, then disappearance. Official reports called it mechanical failure. Pilots called it something else. "You're dead," Ryan said quietly. "Not exactly." Static surged, briefly warping her words. "I went down here, but I didn't leave." The sky darkened further, as if reacting to her admission. Ryan felt pressure build behind his eyes, the beginnings of spatial disorientation. "What is here?" he asked. "A pocket, a scar, a place the ocean keeps. Instruments don't work right, because reality doesn't work right." Ryan swallowed. "That's impossible. So is your fuel gauge draining faster than it should." He glanced down. She was right. Fuel consumption had jumped. Subtle, but undeniable. "Listen to me carefully," Siren continued. "You have less than 20 minutes before this place decides you belong to it." Ryan laughed once, sharp and humorless. "You expect me to believe the ghost of a Navy pilot is guiding me through a, what, haunted patch of ocean? I expect you to stay alive. Belief is optional." A shadow moved beneath the surface of the water. Not a wave, not a reflection. Something vast shifted far below, distorting the darkness as if the ocean itself were breathing. Ryan's breath caught. What was that? "Don't look for it," Siren said immediately. "They notice attention." "They," Ryan repeated. Static spiked. For the first time, fear slipped into her voice. "You're not alone in this sky. You never were." The aircraft shuddered, not violently, but enough to set off a warning tone. Ryan fought the urge to pull up. Stay level, Siren ordered. If you climb, they follow. If you dive, they welcome you. What do you mean welcome? He snapped. She didn't answer right away. The silence stretched, thick with things unsaid. This place feeds on trajectories. Shark? She said softly. On paths that don't quite reach their destination. Missed calls. Lost signals. Pilots who think one small deviation doesn't matter. Ryan felt sweat gather at his temples. Then why help me? He asked. Why not let me vanish like the rest? Another sigh. Because someone helped me once, and I didn't listen fast enough. The clouds ahead began to form. Gray walls rising out of nowhere, dense and unnatural. Siren's voice sharpened. You're entering the worst of it now. From this point on, you do exactly what I say. No questions. No heroics. Ryan stared straight ahead, heart hammering. Understood, he said. The radio crackled again, the static louder now. Angrier. Like interference fighting to break through her signal. Good, Shark, she said quickly. Because once we're inside the cloud, they're going to try to sound like me. Ryan's throat went dry. How will I know the difference? There was a brief, almost sad smile in her voice. You'll know, because I'm the only one trying to get you out. The aircraft crossed into the cloud wall, and the world disappeared. The aircraft entered the cloud like it was crossing a border that had never existed on any map. The sky vanished in an instant, not faded, erased. Gray swallowed everything outside the canopy, thick and lightless, pressing so close it felt solid. Shark's instruments flickered as if unsure they were still required to function. Easy, Ryan whispered, more to himself than the machine. The radio crackled violently, overlapping whispers bleeding through the speakers, broken words, half-formed voices, fragments of call signs that didn't belong together. Mayday. Control, do you read? Altitude failing. Ryan's hands tightened on the controls. Ignore them. Siren's voice cut through the chaos, sharper now, anchored. They're echoes. Leftovers. Echoes of what? Ryan asked, fighting to keep his voice steady. Of pilots who trusted the wrong voice. The altimeter dipped 500 feet. Ryan reacted instantly, pulling back on the stick. Don't! Siren shouted. Too late! The aircraft shuddered violently, alarms screaming to life. The gray outside twisted, stretching like wet fabric, and for a heartbeat Ryan felt weightless, like the sky had let go of him. He forced the stick forward, leveling out just as the warning tones cut off. Breathing hard, he muttered. You said stay level! I said do exactly what I say, Siren replied, her voice tight. This place punishes instinct. Ryan swallowed and nodded even though she couldn't see him. Understood. The whispers grew louder. Now they sounded closer. Shark! This is carrier control! You're drifting. Ryan's heart skipped. The voice was perfect. Familiar. Commander Brooks. His controller back on the carrier. That is not him, Siren said immediately. Do not answer! But that's his voice, Ryan protested. It wears what you trust. The compass spun again, faster this time. The artificial horizon tilted, then corrected, then tilted the other way. Ryan focused on Siren's voice, using it as a lifeline in a cockpit that no longer obeyed physics. Heading 309, she instructed. Maintain speed. Do not chase stability. It's bait. Ryan followed her commands, even as his instincts screamed that everything was wrong. The gray around him darkened. Then shapes appeared. At first, he thought it was an illusion, clouds folding in on themselves. But the shapes moved with purpose, slow and massive, like shadows cast by something far larger than his aircraft. Tell me what they are, Ryan said quietly. Siren hesitated. They are what listens when radios go silent. One of the shadows slid beneath him, close enough that the cockpit lights dimmed as if something had passed between him and the sky. The radio erupted with overlapping voices now. Dozens of them. Pull up. Descend now. Follow me. I can get you home. Ryan squeezed his eyes shut for half a second, then opened them again. Eyes forward, Shark, Siren said. They can't pull you if you don't look at them. How do you know all this? He asked. A tremor ran through her voice. Not static, but emotion. Because I failed. The clouds thinned just enough for Ryan to see something ahead. An aircraft. Navy markings. Same model as his. Flying straight and level. Is that? Ryan began. No, Siren said firmly. Do not approach it. The aircraft ahead drifted closer anyway, matching his speed. Its canopy was dark. No navigation lights. No transponder. Then the radio clicked. Shark! A man's voice said. Come! Friendly. This is Siren. I've got you. Just follow me. Ryan's blood turned to ice. That's your call sign, he whispered. I know. The fake siren continued. You're almost out. Just stay on my wing. Ryan's hand twitched on the controls. The aircraft ahead wobbled slightly, like it was waiting. That's how they got me, Siren said softly. They learned my voice after I died. Died? Ryan repeated. A long pause. My plane hit the water 20 years ago, Shark. My voice didn't. The fake siren's aircraft began to descend slowly. Don't listen to her, the imitation said. She's the trap. Ryan's head pounded. Sweat dripped into his eyes. Choose now, Siren said urgently. Because they can't hold both shapes much longer. Ryan made his decision. He pushed the throttle forward and banked hard away from the phantom aircraft. The moment he did, the gray cloud screamed. Not audibly, but the pressure in his skull surged, like the sky itself was enraged. The fake aircraft shattered into fragments of shadow, dissolving back into the cloud. The shadows below surged upward. They're angry, Siren said. You denied them a landing. The aircraft shook violently now, alarms blaring nonstop. Ryan fought the controls, muscles burning as the plane bucked like a living thing. Fuel critical. The system warned. I'm not going to make it, Ryan said through clenched teeth. You will, Siren said. Because I won't let you repeat me. Why? He shouted. Because someone has to remember us as more than missing reports. The clouds ahead split suddenly, opening like a wound. Blue sky bled through. There, Siren said. Straight through, no hesitation. Ryan aimed the aircraft at the opening. The shadows lunged, the radio filled with screams. And then, light. The aircraft burst out of the cloud wall into open sky. Sunlight flooded the cockpit. The ocean below was calm, normal, real. The instrument stabilized, the whispers vanished. Carrier chatter roared back onto the radio. Shark, this is carrier control. Where the hell have you been? Ryan laughed, breathless and shaking. We'll talk later, Siren said quietly. I can't follow you past this point. Wait, Ryan said. Don't go. Her voice softened. Fly home, Shark. And if the radio ever goes silent again, remember who to trust. The channel went quiet, but this time, the silence felt. The carrier deck came into view just as the sun dipped toward the horizon, painting the ocean in bands of gold and fire. To anyone watching from below, Lieutenant Ryan Hale's aircraft looked like any other returning patrol. Steady approach, clean lines, nothing out of the ordinary. Inside the cockpit, Ryan was still shaking. Carrier control, this is Shark. Inbound, he said, forcing his voice into regulation calm. Copy that, Shark. You gave us a scare, the controller replied. We lost your signal for 9 minutes. You were outside radar range, then you reappeared 20 miles closer than you should have been. 9 minutes. Ryan's stomach tightened. Inside the clouds, it had felt much longer. Roger, he answered. Request landing. The aircraft hit the deck with a hard, perfect thump. Arresting cable screamed, metal shrieked, and suddenly he was no longer flying. He was home. But home didn't feel real. On the deck, crew members moved like pieces in a familiar dance. Hand signals. Shouts. The smell of fuel and salt air. Ryan climbed down the ladder, legs stiff, heart still racing. Hell of a flight, Shark, one of the deck crew said. You look like you saw a ghost. Ryan forced a smile. Something like that. They were waiting for him in the briefing room. 2 intelligence officers, 1 flight surgeon, the squadron commander, Captain Morales, standing with arms crossed, expression unreadable. Sit, Morales said. Ryan sat. The door closed. The room felt smaller instantly. You want to tell us why your aircraft went dark in a no-fail corridor? Morales asked. Ryan opened his mouth, then closed it. Where did he even begin? The radio went dead. Ryan said slowly. All of them. Then I crossed into something. The intelligence officers exchanged glances. Go on, Morales said. There was a voice, Ryan continued. A woman. She knew my call sign, my heading. She guided me through a cloud system that didn't exist on radar. The flight surgeon leaned forward slightly, watching his pupils. She said her call sign was Siren. The room went still. Morales didn't move, didn't blink. One of the intelligence officers quietly reached into a folder and slid a photograph across the table. Ryan stared at it. A Navy pilot stood beside a jet on a sunlit deck. Helmet under her arm, confident smile. The name LT. EMAK ESSLER was stenciled on the fuselage behind her. Call sign. Siren. declared lost at sea 20 years ago. Ryan swallowed hard. That's her. The flight surgeon broke the silence. Lieutenant Hale, do you understand the implications of claiming contact with a deceased pilot? Yes, sir, Ryan said. I also understand I wouldn't be sitting here if I hadn't listened to him. Morales finally spoke. You're not the first pilot to report this. Ryan looked up sharply. Most don't make it back, Morales continued. The ones who do, their stories match yours more than command is comfortable admitting. He turned and looked out the small window toward the ocean. We call it an atmospheric anomaly. The dead zone. It appears, disappears, and doesn't care about our explanations. Why keep flying through it? Ryan asked. Because the ocean doesn't move, Morales replied. And neither does the mission. The intelligence officer gathered the photo and slid it back into the folder. Officially, this debrief never happened. Your report will cite temporary systems failure and pilot disorientation. Unofficially, Ryan asked. Morales met his eyes. Unofficially, if the radio goes silent and a woman calls your name, you listen. The meeting ended without ceremony. Ryan walked out onto the deck, the wind whipping against his face. The sun had fully set now, leaving the ocean black and endless. Lights from the carrier shimmered across the water, fragile against the vast dark. He stood there longer than necessary. Thank you, he said quietly, unsure if anyone could hear. That night, sleep didn't come easily. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw gray clouds folding inward, heard overlapping voices clawing at his thoughts. He dreamed of aircraft drifting just below the surface, perfectly intact, pilots frozen behind glass canopies, radios still whispering. On the third night, the dream changed. He was back in the cockpit. The radio crackled. Not with static, with clarity. Shark. Ryan sat bolt upright in his bunk, heart hammering. The ship was quiet. 2. He waited. Nothing else followed. The next morning, Ryan was assigned a new patrol route. Different aircraft. Same ocean. As he climbed into the cockpit, he paused, resting a hand on the fuselage. Let's not meet like that again, he murmured. The flight was smooth. Clear skies. Perfect comms. Until the return leg. Halfway home, the radio dipped. Just for a fraction of a second. Ryan's breath caught. Then it came back. Carrier chatter resumed like nothing had happened. He stared at the horizon, muscles tense, waiting for the silence to return. It didn't. But later, as he reviewed the flight data, something strange stood out. A single unexplained course